Have you ever wondered why two people with the same education, same resources, and same opportunities end up with wildly different levels of success? One lives in quiet frustration, while the other builds an empire. What separates them? It's not luck. It's not even talent. It's something far more powerful and invisible. This, my friend, is the invisible key to wealth and success. And once you grasp it, you'll never see life the same again. Every extraordinary journey begins with a single deliberate decision. Not a wish, not a hope. A decision, one that cuts through the noise of distraction, silences the opinions of others, and draws a line in the sand of your life. This is the moment when the heart whispers a purpose so loud it drowns out every excuse. It's not enough to want success. The world is filled with people who want more, wish for more, dream of more. The ones who achieve it, the ones who live it, are those who made up their minds with such unwavering certainty that not even failure dared to stop them. They carried something deeper than desire. They carried definiteness of purpose. Without it, life becomes a wandering trail of starts and stops, of scattered effort and unfinished goals. You've seen people drift from one job to another, one project to the next, always busy but never fulfilled, always in motion but going nowhere. Why? Because they never defined what they truly wanted. They never planted a flag in the soil of their own vision. They never said, "This is what I will do, and nothing less will satisfy me." When your purpose becomes clear, decisions become simple. You no longer ask, "Should I?" You ask only, "How will I?" That's the shift. That's the power of a mind that knows exactly what it's after. Clarity is magnetic. The moment you get serious about your purpose, life begins to respond. People show up. Resources emerge. Ideas begin to flow. And it's not magic. It's alignment. When you burn your ships, when you make quitting impossible, your mind unlocks capabilities you didn't even know you had. You begin to operate with focus, with energy, with a hunger that turns obstacles into fuel. But it has to be definite, not vague, not lukewarm, not, "Oh, I want more money," or "I want a better life." That's not a purpose, that's a hope. A real purpose has specifics. It's measurable. It wakes you up early and keeps you up late. It commands your loyalty and sets your soul on fire. You become dangerous when you have a definite goal. You become unstoppable when that goal is backed by a reason so powerful, so personal, that you would rather die on your feet than live on your knees. This is where most people fall short. They say they want it, but the moment gets hard, the moment they hear "no," they shrink back, because their purpose wasn't definite. It wasn't rooted. It wasn't worth the price. And if it's not worth the struggle, it's not real. A true purpose doesn't just inspire you. It demands something from you. It challenges your comfort. It disrupts your laziness. It calls you higher day after day until you become the kind of person who is worthy of the results you claim to want. There's a reason why every monument, every empire, every innovation that shaped history started with a vision in someone's mind. Before there was the result, there was the resolve, the decision, the definite purpose. It had no evidence, no support, no guarantee, but it had the most powerful force in the universe behind it, and a human mind that refused to quit. This is the key the masses overlook. They chase opportunity instead of creating one. They wait for motivation instead of commanding it. But those who lead their lives with definite purpose don't wait for permission. They don't seek applause. They choose the path, and then they burn the alternative. When you become that committed, doubt has no room to grow. And that's where faith enters, not as blind hope, but as a creative, practical, and essential force. Faith is the substance of your vision. It is the engine that drives your action when the results are nowhere in sight. It is the fuel you burn when progress is invisible and resistance is loud. Without it, even the strongest plan collapses. With it, even the most impossible dream takes shape. Faith begins in the unseen. It doesn't require proof, it creates it. And that's what separates believers from doubters. Doubters wait to see. Believers move forward knowing it's already theirs. They act not because of what they see, but because of what they know in their soul to be true. Faith is not about hoping something works out. It's about knowing that it must, because your mind refuses to accept any other outcome. It's not naive optimism. It's disciplined belief. It's standing tall when everything tells you to kneel. It's moving forward when the path disappears beneath your feet. It's believing in your voice when no one claps, believing in your dream when no one understands, believing in your future when the present looks like failure. Faith is power. Faith is creation. It is the invisible substance from which all success is molded. And here's what makes it transformative. Faith doesn't exist on its own. It must be fed. It must be nurtured. You build it like muscle. Every time you push forward in spite of fear, every time you act even when you feel small, every time you speak your vision as if it were already done, you are building unshakable faith. The more you act with belief, the more you train your subconscious to accept your success is inevitable. And once that belief takes root, your mind becomes a magnet for the right ideas, the right people, the right opportunities. You begin to walk through doors you once didn't even see. This is not philosophy. It's not theory. It's the operating system of the truly successful. They aren't lucky, they're aligned. They've trained their minds to believe so deeply in their purpose that reality bends to their will. That doesn't mean the road is easy. It means the road is worth it. And when you walk with faith, every challenge becomes a test you're built to pass. Every delay becomes a lesson. Every hardship becomes a stepping stone. Faith transforms pain into progress, rejection into redirection, defeat into wisdom. There will be days when it feels like the dream is slipping away. Days when the bank account is empty, when the support is gone, when the goal feels out of reach. Those are not signs to stop. Those are invitations to deepen your faith, to prove, not to others, but to yourself, that you are worthy of the thing you desire, to remind your mind that what you see is temporary, but what you believe, what you decide, is eternal. Most people are trained to surrender when the evidence isn't there. But those who truly succeed, those who leave a legacy, are the ones who continue even when logic says quit. Because faith isn't logical. It's transformational. You don't need to know how every step will unfold. You don't need every answer. You just need to start, move, commit, and trust that the way will reveal itself to the mind that refuses to give up. Faith is not the absence of fear. It is the refusal to be controlled by it. When you walk in faith, you become a creator, not a reactor. You shape your world instead of being shaped by it. That is the invisible key, the secret that unlocks doors before you even knock. The world bows to those who know they're going and believe they will get there. That combination, definite purpose and unwavering faith, is what fuels empires, launches revolutions, creates freedom. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need perfect conditions. All you need is the decision to begin and the faith to never turn back. The most powerful conversation you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Not once, not occasionally, but constantly, silently, persistently. Every single day you are feeding your mind instructions. You are programming your future with every thought you allow, every word you repeat, and every belief you reinforce. And yet, most people let that inner conversation run wild, uncontrolled, undisciplined, shaped by fear, failure, and limitation. They wonder why their life doesn't change, why success feels distant, why their efforts go unrewarded. It's because they've never taken command of their inner dialogue. They've never harnessed the extraordinary power of auto-suggestion. What you say to yourself becomes what you believe, and what you believe becomes what you act on. Action is always born from thought. Change your thoughts, and your life must follow. Auto-suggestion is not magic. It is not delusion. It is the intentional repetition of the words that build your identity. If you tell yourself you're not good enough, not smart enough, not lucky enough, then your subconscious accepts that as truth. It begins to filter your experiences to match those expectations. It will sabotage your plans and shrink your possibilities, not because life is unfair, but because your mind is following orders. But you can reverse that. You can reprogram your beliefs by repeating new instructions deliberately and persistently. Speak not what you fear, but what you desire. Speak not what is, but what can be. Start telling yourself every day what kind of life you are building, what kind of person you are becoming, and how success is already in motion. When you do this with emotion, with clarity, and with repetition, your subconscious begins to align your entire being to make it real. And once belief takes root, action becomes automatic. This is not about hype or empty motivation. This is about transformation through self-command. Every successful person you admire has used this tool, whether they knew it by name or not. They spoke their future before anyone else believed in it. They built their inner certainty before the world saw any outer evidence. They knew that you cannot outperform your own self-image. And so they shaped that image daily through affirmations, through visualization, through constant reinforcement of the identity they chose to embody. Think about the power this gives you. No matter where you started, no matter what your past looks like, you can change your inner programming right now. You don't have to ask anyone's permission. You don't have to wait for someone to believe in you. You just need to start feeding your mind new commands. Write them down. Speak them out loud. Feel them in your bones. Say them until your doubts get tired of fighting you. Say them until the voice that once whispered fear now roars with faith, because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's repeated. It believes what you give it consistently. You can tell yourself, I am worthy of wealth, I am creating value every day, I am disciplined, I am focused, I am unstoppable. And at first, it might feel like a lie. But repetition with conviction transforms a lie into a belief, and belief into a reality. Every great achiever began this way, by commanding their thoughts before they commanded the world. It's not luck, it's not fate, it's self-direction. It's the daily, intentional molding of the mind into a tool so sharp that nothing can dull its edge. But here's where the puzzle sharpens even further. Feeding your mind empowering thoughts is just one part. You must also fill it with precision. Not general ideas, not vague inspiration, but focused, specialized knowledge. Because the world doesn't reward those who know a little about everything. It rewards those who know a lot about one thing that matters. Success is not about how much you know. It's about how well you can use what you know to solve real problems. And that's where specialized knowledge separates the dreamers from the doers. Too many people confuse education with knowledge. They chase degrees, certificates, and titles, hoping it will make them successful. But what they lack is applicable insight. They collect information but never master any of it. They become walking encyclopedias, full of facts, yet unable to execute. But those who rise, those who lead, those who create wealth and impact, they go deep, not wide. They pick a field. They study the patterns. They solve the problems others overlook. They become the authority. And once that happens, opportunity chases them. Specialized knowledge doesn't mean you have to be born a genius. It means you choose to become one in the domain you commit to. You can learn from books, from mentors, from experience. You can apprentice under those who've already achieved what you want. You can experiment, fail, refine, and improve. What matters is that you don't spread your energy across 1,000 interests. You aim your mind like a laser. You become so good in one space that people turn to you as the go-to source. And when you solve problems better than others, money flows to you naturally. Think about the difference between someone who has general information and someone who has specialized skill. One is replaceable. The other is essential. One is paid by the hour. The other is paid by results. One hopes for job security. The other creates their own economy. This is the power of becoming exceptional in a focused area. You rise above the noise. You become irreplaceable. But this mastery doesn't happen by accident. It comes from intentional study, deliberate practice, and relentless improvement. You don't wait to become confident before you act. You act until confidence arrives. It's not enough to be motivated. You must also be competent. And competence only comes through commitment to depth. If you want to earn more, learn more. Specifically, learn something that others value, something that solves pain, something that creates results. This is the real capital of success, not just information but transformation. Not just education but execution. Pair that with the power of auto-suggestion, and now you have a formula that cannot be stopped. Because now your mind believes you can. Your skill proves that you can. And your actions demonstrate that you will. When your internal conversation says, I'm the best in my field, and your knowledge supports that claim, the world listens. You no longer chase approval. You attract respect. You no longer hope for chances. You create them. You no longer settle for mediocrity. You demand greatness from yourself and deliver it to others. This is what it means to lead your life. To stop following trends and start mastering your terrain. To stop speaking limitation and start declaring victory. To stop knowing a little about everything and instead becoming the expert who owns their space. Success is not accidental. It is constructed brick by brick with words, thoughts, focus, and skill. It is built by those who dare to shape their inner world and then back it up with mastery of their outer craft. Most people will not do this work. Most will continue to think random thoughts, consume random content, and expect their life to somehow become extraordinary. But those who rise know better. They take control of their mind. They feed it the vision. They reinforce that vision daily through auto-suggestion. And then they fuel it with precise knowledge, applied with relentless execution. This combination is rare, but it is the blueprint of every leader, every builder, every titan who ever turned a thought into reality and a dream into a legacy. There is a moment in every life when everything changes. Not because the world shifted, not because the timing was perfect, but because a decision was made. A real decision. The kind that carries weight. The kind that slams the door on retreat and seals the exit to excuses. That decision is the line between those who talk about doing something and those who actually do it. Between those who dabble and those who dominate. The difference between a lifetime of almosts and a life that echoes through history is nothing more than decisiveness. Most people spend their days hesitating, thinking, worrying, asking others, waiting. They're trapped in the loop of what-ifs and maybes, of overthinking and second-guessing. And the longer they hesitate, the weaker they become. Because indecision is a disease. It paralyzes the spirit, it drains the energy. It slowly kills dreams in silence, not with a bang, but with the quiet decay of never fully committing. The opportunity might knock, but if you're still wondering whether or not to open the door, someone else is already walking through it. The world does not respond to uncertainty. It does not reward hesitation. It moves for the one who moves first, the one who decides quickly and clearly, and then backs that decision with action that refuses to stop. It's not that they never question themselves. It's that they trust themselves more than they fear being wrong. And here's the truth: you will never have all the information. You will never feel perfectly ready. But success is not reserved for the perfect. It belongs to the committed. To those who say, "This is what I've chosen," and then figure out the rest while moving forward. Decisiveness is a superpower, not because every decision is right, but because momentum is more valuable than perfection. The one who moves with clarity, even if they stumble, is miles ahead of the one still wondering where to start. And when your mind is made up, the world bends to your will. Doors open, people respond, resources appear, not because the path is easy, but because you've already eliminated the possibility of turning back. But the decision alone is not enough. It must be married to something stronger, something deeper, something called persistence. Because the moment you decide, life will test you. It will check your sincerity. It will challenge the strength of your commitment. It will bring opposition, resistance, delay, and disappointment, not to break you, but to reveal you. The ones who stop at the first sign of struggle were never truly decided. But the one who persists, who keeps going when the odds say stop, is the one who earns the crown. Persistence is not a trait, it's a habit. It's the daily decision to keep showing up, to keep pushing, to keep believing when nothing seems to be working. It's doing the hard thing again and again, even when the results are invisible, even when your friends tell you to quit, even when your own voice whispers that maybe it's time to give up. Because deep down, you know this isn't optional. This is who you are. This is the price you pay for greatness. Every breakthrough you admire began in the darkness of persistence. Every hero you celebrate spent days, weeks, years walking through rejection, obscurity, and failure. But they kept going. They kept knocking. They kept trying. Because quitting was never part of the plan, and that's what separates those who almost made it from those who did. Not talent, not intelligence, just a refusal to quit. If you only act when it's easy, you'll never reach your full power. If you only believe when you're winning, you'll never know what real faith feels like. Persistence is what happens when your spirit refuses to be denied, when your why is bigger than your pain, when the vision in your heart is so vivid that no temporary defeat can shake it. That's when the world starts to take you seriously. That's when your dream begins to solidify, not just in your imagination, but in your reality. But here's the secret weapon that the most successful people use. They don't walk this road alone. They build something greater than themselves. They surround themselves with minds that elevate their vision. They create what is known as a mastermind alliance, a union of purpose, intellect, and energy with other people who are just as committed, just as hungry, just as relentless in pursuit of growth. Alone, you can go fast, but together you can go far. When the right people come together, something transcendent happens. It's no longer just your brain solving problems. It's a collective consciousness, a fusion of perspectives, experience, and drive that generates ideas you never would have found on your own. Your strength multiplies. Your weaknesses are covered. Your blind spots are revealed. You rise together, faster and higher than any single person could alone. But the key is intention. You don't need people who talk big. You need people who think with purpose, who speak with belief, who act with courage, who stretch you, who won't let you settle for less. The right mastermind alliance is a sacred circle of aligned minds, each committed not only to their own success, but to the success of the group. It's built on trust, honesty, accountability, and shared ambition. It becomes your mirror, your compass, your rocket fuel. Think about the energy you carry after just one conversation with someone who gets it, someone who understands your drive, someone who speaks your language of growth. Now multiply that by 5, by 10, by weekly meetings and collaborative planning and mutual belief. That's what a mastermind can give you. And it's not just emotional support. It's strategy, insight, leverage. It's access to resources, connections, and wisdom that would have taken you decades to discover alone. The myth of the lone genius is just that, a myth. Behind every empire, every revolution, every innovation was a circle, a partnership, a council of thinkers who challenged, inspired, and elevated one another. You need this. You deserve this. Not because you're not strong, but because you're smart enough to know you can be even stronger. Build your circle wisely. Choose only those who challenge your limits and honor your mission. Protect that space. Grow it, feed it, and watch what happens to your life. Because here's what most people never understand: the journey to success is not about grinding alone in silence. It's about aligning with others who make your flame burn hotter. It's about walking with warriors who sharpen your sword and expand your vision. It's about creating a future that none of you could have shaped alone. You are the sum of the people you allow into your mind. If they don't speak life, remove them. If they don't believe in your goal, distance yourself. If they don't add strength, they subtract it. But when you find those who walk with purpose, who dream without limits, who act with intensity, build with them, align with them, rise together. There is no force stronger than united minds on fire with shared purpose. So decide, persist, and link arms with the kind of people who remind you who you are when you forget, who pull you forward when you slow down, who pour belief into your spirit until you can pour it into others. This is the formula. Decide with certainty. Persist without excuse. Align with power. And never again will you walk through this world as anything less than unstoppable.